Hello again, friends. It's time for another installment of Interesting Rulings. Today we are discussing how to counter activated abilities with 5th Omni Dragonlord Drum, along with timing and targeting involving non-public information zones. To start off with, we will cover how you can use Drum to bypass the activated abilities of pesky cards like Electron Ninja Shiden. Turn player has priority to use cards or effects such as Cyber Analyze when it is their turn. The only exception to this would be automatic abilities. Automatic abilities bypass player priority. The way that Drum can stop Shiden is by using a counter that deals damage to himself, or to the player owning him specifically, and puts them at 6 or below life in response to your opponent calling Shiden to the field. This puts your automatic ability on the stack, and there are no other automatic abilities unless the card that they're calling has an automatic ability, or unless they have a set spell that has an automatic ability when a card is called, such as Cage of Nightmares or Green Dragonite Song of the Ancient Lands. But this means that you get to pop Shiden with Drum's skill before they get the ability to activate its effect. And that's pretty awesome. Moving on, we're going to discuss cards that call other cards from your hand or deck, or cast other cards from your hand or deck. The best example of a card that plays a card from a non-public information zone is Dandy-Guy Sitri. Sitri's cast actually works as follows. First, you play Sitri, and his ability goes on the stack. That's it. It is now your opponent's counter timing. Let's say they want to protect their monster in case you draw a destruction spell. Well, they'd better be using Dragobond now. They don't get a timing to counter the spell played off of Sitri's effect. Neither player knows what's going to be milled until after the counter timing is over. Consequently, because any spell can be milled by Sitri, you can play restricted cast timing cards in response to the randomness of Sitri. For example, you could play Black Dragon Shield in response, because Sitri could mill Transflame. You could play Demon Slay Barrier in response to Sitri, because he could mill Demon's Concert, so on and so forth. This also applies to calls from hand or from deck, searches from hand or deck, discarding, and so on. All non-public information zones have their interactions and targets chosen upon resolution, always. Moving on, we're going to talk about just how always that is. There is one case of non-public information cards being on the playing field. That would be Face Down Soul. Cards like the Arc, Shinobi Scrolls, and Dragon Seal all have Face Down Soul. So what happens when you try to remove that Face Down Soul? Well, unlike every other instance of soul targeting, if you call a card like Tenbu SD to remove a soul that is face down, you do not select the individual soul at the activation of Tenbu SD's effect, and instead choose which soul to remove after your opponent's counter timing. What does this mean for targeting? Do you just choose no target if you want to go for face down soul? Well, no. If you read Tenbu SD, it says this: put a soul from a card on your opponent's field into his or her drop zone. The key words here are from a card on your opponent's field. If you are targeting face down soul, you choose the entire card, then pick the individual soul upon resolution. So why does this matter? Well, in the case of Shinobi Scrolls, if they have 2 cards in their soul and they want to use one in response to Tenbu SD, that means that their other soul is going to go away and there's nothing they can do about it, even if they would like to also use that card. That's it for this segment. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one.